Hey everybody, welcome to another Age of Grogu, and I have with me Jason and Max. How's it going, guys? It's been a few weeks.
What
We've
up?
been I've been really busy. I've been working and a few things have come up, so I've had to miss a few Sundays. But how's your last couple of weeks been, guys?
It's been good,
Good.
man.
Yeah,
Ain't got
that's
shit to
cool.
do, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No.
get your Sundays back for a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice.
yeah. Anything much, Max? Any new comics? Anything kind of cool and interesting
Oh yeah.
that's been going on?
What was cool this week? Batman vs. Robin ended. Yeah, this is a cool one. I got
Okay.
signed by Mark Wade.
Wait, Batman versus Robin?
Batman versus Robin.
Oh, okay.
They
All right.
both turned evil at one point in
Oh,
the arc, which sounds kind of bullshit, but
okay.
it was cool.
Okay.
This is a cool indie book this week. Phantom Road by Jeff Lemire. Trucker doing some crazy kind of not zombies. I don't even know what they are. I haven't really said yet, but he's fighting some cool monsters, and it's been kind of an exciting thing.
That's cool.
What else is cool? I got some cool stuff signed this week. You got
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Spider-Man #1 signed by Dan Slott. I got Knights
Nice.
of X signed by Teeny Howard. A bunch of other cool stuff signed. Oh,
Cool.
and also MODOK took over New York.
Okay.
That's been fun.
Was he better than what he was in Quantumania?
Yeah, this is where I was going to mention this later in Quantumania when everyone says that MODOK isn't really. Everyone was arguing saying MODOK's always been a BS villain. I'm like, well,
Uh-huh.
not always, technically. And he just took
Right.
over New York, so
Okay.
maybe there's something they could have done with him.
He's got
There
that
you
under
go.
his belt now.
There you go.
I mean,
Wow, that's
most
one.
Marvel villains do have that under their belt at one point, but
Taking
it's
over
great
New
he
York.
gets a turn.
Okay.
Like a rite of passage for Marvel villains.
Yeah, that's
Have
it.
you taken
That's
New
it.
York yet? You
No.
gotta do that. Check that off
Yep.
your list, bro.
That's it. Pretty
Yeah, I
much.
just imagine the bar, no name. They're all just having their plans. I'm like, no, I got New York next week. No, I had it next
Hey,
week.
Malloy, how's it going?
Malloy, what up?
Yeah, I'm starting to feel better. Yeah, I had a really bad cold about a week and a half ago after a film shoot, and it just knocked me out senseless. It was not fun. But, and yeah, it was just like everything built up. But I'm good. I'm better now, so all good. How's that going, Jacob? 3 questions, huh? Alrighty. Okay. So, yeah, guys. What else has been going on? What are the things? Um, let's see. News-wise, yeah. Let's see what popped up. You guys been watching The Last of Us?
Mhm.
Keeping up
Yeah,
with it?
of course.
Yeah.
Oh man, that
It's
show!
good.
I played the game. I'm so invested in all of this.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to spoil it for everyone else, so I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
Okay. Yeah. No. Please. Yeah. No spoilers ahead of
That's
what
nice.
is going forward. But that's
Kind of filling the void for like that big HBO show.
yeah.
I know
I
Liz
mean,
is really into it. She really liked
yeah.
House of Dragons. She was like,
Yeah.
I miss House of Dragons. Like there needs to
Hey,
be something to
Kobe.
watch. And so like this came along and I was
Right.
like, you should watch it. And she was like scared at first, and now she's finally watching it and she's like
Mm-hmm.
obsessed.
That's cool. I mean,
So it's
I'm
got the
not
normies
necessarily.
down, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not obsessed as much, but I'm enjoying the production quality and everything like that. So yeah, I'm 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 invested in seeing where it's going. I think we've got like 3 weeks left, 3 episodes left of the season. I think it's
2.
10. Oh, 2, really? Okay.
Yep.
Wow, that's going
Whoa.
quick.
And it's gonna end on a
Wow.
banger. I'm just gonna say
Okay.
these last 2 episodes are they're just gonna be bangers.
Uh-huh. Hey, that
Nice.
sucked. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what have you guys been out there in chat? You guys been watching it? You've been enjoying it? I'm curious to know. Obviously, there's a few of you who are enjoying it. I'm curious to know what the long game is on these characters, because right now they've done a nice
There's
job
a
of
long
introducing them, and it seems like they've got a couple of little threats here and there, but nothing I'd call huge, massive threats immediate future. We hear this background stuff about all these big things going on.
I know it's only
and we
it's
haven't
only the
quite
whole
seen it.
world is taken over by the zombies, It's like how
Well,
big
yeah, I know, but how you doing, Anchorman? You've
Brent
never
needs more of
watched
a
it?
threat than that.
I need more of a threat than zombies taking
The
over.
game
Yeah,
does have a
no.
lot more zombies in it. The show took out basically most of the combat sections just for
Okay.
time, which seems weird for someone who played the game because it seems like there's no zombies in the show.
Right.
Which
Well, I mean, that's
because
a
zombies are affected, but
Yeah.
yeah, but it feels
You
like
need
there's
that.
very little. I will say.
That's
Yeah.
a big part of like a game, Like,
Exactly. They took out all the mechanics of like
Yeah, they-
sneaking around them and
yeah, they trimmed all
boss
that,
fights
and
and
it's just mostly about like the character arcs, I guess.
yeah, which is
Just
still
like
great.
Jacob,
Cliff's notes.
we'll jump into Mandalorian a bit later for sure. But you've got a
We
question.
will answer
Okay.
all these questions. I'm
We
sure.
will answer. We will answer these
I will
questions to the
say, I
best of
think
our
we're gonna see
knowledge.
Hondo. I
To the
think we're gonna
best.
see Hondo. I'll say
I
that
feel
right
like
now.
I feel like they're setting up Hondo. I would. I don't know if it'll be this season specifically, but I don't know.
I
I
think
mean,
this
we'll
is
see.
Ahsoka.
We'll see.
Well, that's the guy who sounds like Puss in Boots, right?
What's that? What? No, totally different.
Not
actor.
really. No. It's not like a pirate kind of.
Yeah, the actor who played
He just sounded like him when we watched those episodes of
No, but he's actually
You're
he
reminding
played.
me of,
If you ever saw the TV animated show of Disney show of Tailspin back in the early '90s, I think it was.
yeah.
He played Don Carnage, who was like the villain pirate of all things, and he was awesome as that voice character. And that's the immediate thing that came to me with Hondo, was like it sounded just like that character, and I was like, that's kind of cool. So he played a pirate yet again, which is kind of cool.
the green squid guy.
The green squid guy. Yeah, we'll go into Mando a little bit later. We're going to talk a little bit about what's been other little bits and pieces. Yeah.
I will say for Last of Us, last thing about Last of Us, there's
Yeah.
a definite long game for the characters right now. There's 2 games out right now. We're
Okay.
nearing the end of the first game, which sounds crazy because it's like, oh, what's happened so far? But
Okay.
by the end of the season, your mind's gonna be blown, and then by the end of the second season, it's gonna be a whole different story.
Okay.
There's such a long game for these characters
So-
that it's insane.
Without saying anything specifically, this season feels like it's only the first part of the game, is it? Or is it the actual first game?
It's
itself?
actually the whole first game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it because they've taken out a lot of the. It's all the beats of the game.
Right.
Taking out all the
most of the
gameplay.
combat.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
they've taken it. Yeah,
All right. And you're talking about the combat being the player in the.
well, it's like there's
third-person
certain
kind of
sections
combat?
in the game where it's like you'll be traversing through the town or the environment you're in, and
Yeah.
that's kind of the meat of the game is the traversing. So you'll be talking. It's what kind of build a relationship between Ellie and Joel. What made the characters so likable is they're constantly talking and messing with each other and arguing and
Gotcha. Okay.
building this great bond. But there's also a lot of tension with the zombies or the infected
Right.
around them, and they're hard to kill. You don't have much ammo, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's constantly stressing you out in a
Okay.
fun way and testing your skills.
Okay.
And the show I wish had a little bit of that more, which was more just
Right.
more tension with the infected,
Gotcha. Okay.
because that's what built a relationship so well.
And that's the weird thing about the translation of a game to a show, right?
Mm,
Like
yeah.
most of the meat of a game is that gameplay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where there's like minimal story really being told during those moments, but it takes up a majority of the time.
Right. But the game time itself technically would be like a period of a couple of minutes in the show time, I guess, is within
Well,
the
the
show
whole
itself,
first
or-
game is about 12 hours.
Okay. Wow.
So they're only really losing like 3 hours.
All right, fair enough.
Just hour-wise. But
Okay.
they're covering all the same stuff.
Yeah.
I would just say they're skipping around stuff like in the game. There was a mission where you had to go through a hotel, and they kind of just went around the hotel in the show. And that was the whole thing where you had to turn on the power in the hotel, and you were fighting infected in the hotel, and there was bloaters in there, and it was stressful, and it was dark and scary.
Yeah, it's like there's dialogue and then like a huge stretch of gameplay, and then you reach like the
Go back
next
to dialogue.
moment of
That
dialogue.
was really
Okay.
interesting about Last of Us. It wasn't like that. It was a lot of Joel and Ellie talking while you're walking. So that's what it put you in the driver's seat, and you were playing as Joel, and Ellie was next to you, and she was your companion. And she was really talking to you. And it really felt like these characters were forming a good bond.
So this show's very popular. Is the show going to do like Game of Thrones did, where it's going to surpass the existing content? Do you think? In other words, if there's how many games are there? There's like third game.
I think the third game will come out hopefully before the third season.
Okay,
and I think it'll be. I think Neil Druckmann has a plan in place, and I think PlayStation has a plan in place to increase sales as much as possible for when that third game drops.
Okay.
The second game was very controversial. I wouldn't Google why without getting into spoilers, but it was people boycotted the game. People were a lot of the fans of the original were very, very upset with the sequel.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it took bold narrative decisions.
Okay.
And Neil Druckmann is a writer who doesn't pull back punches. He's a
Right.
real writer who doesn't do video game stories in terms of like everything's okay at the end.
Right.
He knows what he's doing, and he knows the long game, and I think he knows how to work this show to make it cohesive.
Right.
And
Gotcha.
it's probably a
What's
3-season show.
crazy about calling, like this being a video game adaptation, because for a video game, it was really different from like average video games.
Right.
So it's already like an outlier in that sense. And you're making an adaptation to that. And I think it was already kind of primed for a cinematic experience.
Okay.
For sure.
It leans into that more than most games do already.
Right.
So it was kind of like, oh, it's pretty much ready to go.
Yeah. The story was ready to go. They didn't really change much. They added some stuff, like that the character who was hunting Henry and Sam. But they didn't change really much. Everything's the same story.
We will, Jacob. Absolutely, for sure. I want to make some comparisons.
Yeah, it's hitting all the.
Yeah,
it's hitting all the points, but it's not like like Sonic, for instance, where it's
it wasn't like
a video game.
Right.
Yeah, the first Sonic movie didn't really feel like the video game very much. This is just it's bringing you into the world. I just wish there was more of that darkness in the world that we saw in the game, but it's still there. It still exists in the show. They're just running around it.
It's like reading the book, compared to watching the movie.
Yeah.
So you're like, the book's way better.
Yeah. Let's skip over to Marvel for a little bit. Did you guys see the new Marvels poster that they dropped?
Yeah, it looks great. I love all three logos on it.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm curious now. Like before, I was not invested, and I think it was before Miss Marvel. But they also dropped another piece of news this past week. They're going to be bringing in Steven Yeun, who from The Walking Dead of all things, to join Marvel Studios as a key role. Any guesses as to what kind of character he would be playing?
I've heard Sentry.
Okay.
That's what every comment I've said on I've seen on every post says he's playing Sentry, which
with blonde
makes
hair.
me laugh. The idea of a long blonde wig.
All right.
I don't know why. It's just I don't know. That's kind of funny.
They had the liberty of changing some of that stuff too. So
no, he needs the long blonde hair.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not really, but yeah, he needs it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You can do that. You can pull it
Superman and the spit curl. You can't have Superman without the spit curl.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Stephen Yeun can pull it off.
Yeah,
I know he totally could, which is why it'd be funny. Just him in a long blonde wig.
Yeah, he's an awesome actor for sure.
We see Super Skrull, I would actually lose my mind, but I think they're saving for Fantastic Four.
They're saving that. Yeah, they're saving that.
All right.
Fantastic Four.
Super Skrull. I think they're saving Super Skrull for Fantastic Four. I think that's a perfect Fantastic Four villain. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally. I mean, I'm excited to see what they do with him. What was the other thing that came up? Tom Holland's Spider-Man is returning to the MCU, and Kevin Feige says he has big ideas for that. I don't know what that means. I'm trying to understand the relationship.
They need big ideas. They've gotten rid of everything Spider-Man.
Yeah,
he has nothing. He has nothing. He has no Norman. He has no MJ. He has no Harry Osborn. He's got no Doc Ock. He's got no Aunt May. He's got...
That's such a generic.
By getting rid of everything.
It's such a generic comment, too. Don't worry, guys. We got big ideas.
And he's got all the Sony writers that you could possibly throw at him.
I'm thinking Scorpion and Rhino. Like,
I don't know.
Unless they're doing like Moreland, I don't know if he really has big ideas.
Yeah.
I know who they got left.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of getting I have to admit, especially after Quantumania, we saw it a few weeks ago. We gave a brief reaction to our thoughts coming out of the film. I'm kind of like, I'm really honestly starting to get marveled out a little bit now. Like, I didn't think I was, but I really, truly am.
They're leaning more mediocre. They're hyping up these movies like they're going to change everything. And at the end of the movie, it changes nothing.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I wish the movies would focus on these universes a little bit because it seems like they're getting away from that idea of because like what did Ant-Man tie into? Tie into Loki, but what did it change?
It didn't just tie into Loki, but it actually just copied almost everything that Kang was introduced as in Loki, and it didn't do anything to invest
it was a
the character
repeat
of
cycle of that.
That's it.
And I thought there was so many unearned moments, like the idea of them at the rebellion and fighting back. It wasn't earned. There wasn't enough moments of the characters spending enough time and learning about these people and helping them.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a waste of time with Bill Murray in the movie. The movie was just kind of all over the place.
Well, I mean, spoilers for those who haven't seen it yet, but the ending there, they had this great opportunity of leaving Ant-Man and Wasp and leaving them in the quantum realm, and they didn't do that.
Yeah.
They've got an entire army at their feet in the quantum realm that could be, organized and
Such
controlled.
a natural conclusion to the movie.
I know. And then they made it all happy and everything, and everyone got out free and without any issues, and Kang was defeated yet again, and it's it's making Kang be a pussy of a villain.
And I think this Kang is Victor Timely from the end credits.
I feel
the post credits, yeah.
I feel like it just like it fell victim to like kind of some cut scenes that kind of left filled out, like
it's a really short film.
There's certain reactions to like and certain dialogues that kind of made me feel that there were scenes that were cut largely from the film that kind of made them feel weird.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah,
so it was probably like just kind of jumbled up, and it was supposed to be released maybe later or at a different time than it was released, maybe at the end of something, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
Fell victim to all that like rewrites and re-edits.
We also fell victim to the most common comic book writer's trap, which is having everyone just be captured and just be juggling around, people being captured. So they get all different screen times with the villain, and it's something that's like it's such a noob comic book thing where it's like think of it like it's like the 1960s idea of how do we get these two characters together? I know one will be captured but won't be harmed. Yeah. And it's like they did that like 3 times in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot to do in one movie. That's like such a...
Yeah. They introduced this Scourge of the Universe, MODOK, to be this badass kind of weapon, and Jacob's
right.
He's
a joke, which MODOK is often a joke, but... I think MODOK... The thing is, MODOK
at least
should be a joke, but he should also be a threat. Like...
Yeah.
The idea behind MODOK is it's not just MODOK in the comics. He also has AIM behind him, and he has a giant evil corporation, and he has other. He works with the not the Illuminati. What do they call? I can't remember. I'm blanking on that, but he works with some evil teams, and he's done some pretty baller stuff. Recently, he took over in New York. Like MODOK is also a very well-known villain, and I think using him like this was such a waste.
They used him to complete the Darren arc.
Which is a BS arc anyway. I think MODOK would have worked a lot better in a young Avengers project. I think it would have given them something fun to fight. It would have given some levity to the ending of the movie while also being fun, or whatever project they did with Young Avengers. I think it would have been a perfect villain for people like Kate Bishop and Ms. Marvel to take on together.
Yeah. No, it just, I mean, is there room that they could reinvent the character in the future using?
I don't think so.
That's it. One and done.
I think the MODOK is going to be a one and done with them.
Yeah.
If they're not using
like that iconic,
they're not. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, it's like
as much as like as lame as it was, they managed to do a big-headed person and explain it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah. I did like that.
Something that has like it's something that's somewhat cohesive to the Ant-Man trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it came far out of left field, but like I guess
it was far.
They
out of
did
left
it.
field. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it could have been teased in the second one if they did something about like AIM trying to work in the quantum realm, and then it would have tied into his original origins of AIM completely screwing him over and turning him into a monster.
Like the last you saw, I mean, the only time you ever see it is Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, yeah. I think they can come back. I think there's such a prominent company. It's like them, Roxxon. There's a lot of evil corporations that I think really could be done some justice in the MCU because they're really scared to talk about it.
Yeah, Roxxon has been nothing but this like background stuff.
They're scared to talk about that anti-consumerism, evil corporation stuff. they're really scared to do it. You can kind of tell.
But that's such a big crutch for Marvel,
Well, the thing about AIM is an evil. Yeah, I mean, AIM is an evil science company. That is something that like evil science experiments in movies are such a good. It's such a good trope. Like I don't know why they wouldn't lean into that. Like they did it with the first Ant-Man and then never again.
Yeah. Well, it's always in the hands of someone bad, and it's always countered by a good
What
science.
Marvel always does, they have good technology in the hands of someone evil. That's what they've been
Yeah.
doing in the MCU.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I mean,
I
ever
wish
since
we had
the
some
Iron
evil
Man.
people. Yeah.
yeah. Well, at the end of the day, the first week, after the first week, Quantumania kind of dipped 69% in viewership, ticket sales drop. And I don't know what it's done in the last week or two, but
So, I
it
mean,
seems like it's kind of really just going down.
what did
It was
you
probably the quickest dip.
what did you guys like about it?
I actually liked
The humor was spot on.
the visuals, the actual design of the visuals didn't bother me inside the quantum realm. I like the design concepts that were there, but there was just no meat to any of the existing world within there.
I like Hank. Hank Pym was
Oh,
cool.
Hank was great.
Hank
That was
Pym was
awesome.
good, but he was also given some pretty bad dialogue there towards the end. When he's trying to do the whole exposition about his ants and
This
stuff,
is my
I was like,
This is my favorite Hank out of all three of them.
Yeah.
okay,
This is my favorite
fair
Hank.
enough.
It felt like we were
Michael
just talking
Douglas
about
is an
filming a
awesome
West
actor.
Coast Avengers
I love-
Hank.
Yeah,
They really cranked up his obsession with ants, and it was
Yeah.
great. I love
Yeah.
that.
yeah,
It made his
And he didn't
character
do
a lot
anything.
more endearing
yeah.
than any of the other ones. I mean, I liked it way better than Ant-Man and Wasp, that's for sure.
See,
Yeah.
I
That one
enjoyed
felt
it.
like
I
a-
actually
felt like a
enjoyed
mess to
Ant-Man.
me. It
I
just-
enjoyed. Yeah, there were moments I enjoyed.
Yeah,
I
but
the
like,
idea of-
it was just like the villains were after the same thing, and like their
Yeah.
motivations were kind of like, dude,
Yeah,
Ghost,
you're right.
let them cook,
Yeah.
dude. They're gonna help you, man. Like, chill for a sec. But yeah,
You're right.
I liked
Yeah.
it better than that. And the quantum world was kind of cool to me.
Yeah,
I liked seeing how weird stuff got.
yeah. I mean, end of the day, I mean, I watched it. I don't know if I'll necessarily sit and watch it anytime soon. If I do a revamp of all the movies at some point in the future, which is just getting endless now,
Yeah.
I'll probably, but it's not my first go-to movie by any matter of means. So,
No, Jacob, that's a good point about MODOK and AIM. I think Marvel does this a lot, where they take away one character without realizing it takes a bunch more stuff off the board.
Yeah,
And I think they really need to think harder about the characters they use and who they're related to, because
right.
now it's very unlikely we'll get like a Mako Rappaccini or a Super Adaptoid,
Yeah.
or a lot of the cooler, or even a Scientist Supreme, or that whole side of the science world, evil science world in Marvel. I think it's a shame that they didn't think that was useful to them at all.
Right.
I know. I'd like
Yeah.
to see a lot more Justin Hammer.
I mean, that's another thing that could play into it. I think a lot of those characters have a place in this universe, and Marvel kind of puts them aside because they're not flashy.
Well, the DC universe has been pretty quiet recently, like in the last couple of weeks. But we did get the Flash trailer, as well as this cool, awesome poster. We also, I know it's a few weeks old, but I just wanted to kind of touch on the Flash trailer. I'm excited for the film, and despite all the controversy that goes with that film, I'm actually curious to see how this plays out.
I want to see why James Gunn called it the greatest superhero movie of all time, because
Yeah,
the trailer looked pretty good, but
yeah,
that's a bold statement. And even for a
It
CEO
is.
of the company, that's a bold
sure.
statement.
yeah.
I
Especially
mean,
since he
that
had no
was-
hands on that.
That
That's what I'm
trailer
saying.
was-
He's saying it's better than his movies, which is
Yeah.
an insane thing for someone to say.
Yeah,
I mean, that trailer was hype, though. It's cool. Like, I
Yeah.
was stoked about it when I saw that. I was like, "Oh, what?"
yeah, for sure. No, yeah,
I've been
I
that shocked
agree.
from a trailer. I've been kind of numb to trailers lately, but that one kind of hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
That one hit all the right
But
notes.
that also had a lot of nostalgia because it had Michael Keaton's Batman in there for me, and that hit hard.
It also had
Like,
the bat armor. It had the way Michael Keaton moved, kind of like the Arkham Batman games. It had
yeah, mhm.
it had Supergirl kind of filling in the Kal-El from Flashpoint. It
Like,
had
after all these years, he still has the stiff neck.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool though.
He didn't fix that.
Yeah.
He's just like, nah, it's part of the look.
But I like the fact that all of his designs is also very similar to what they were from 30 years ago, kind of thing too. The look, the style. He hasn't gone
Even
out his way.
without that, I think it's
change
still a good trailer. Like, I don't feel like there's much of reliance on that either.
even Zod looked great in the trailer.
Yeah.
You understand
Right.
why Zod would be a threat. Is Zod? It's
Yeah.
Kryptonian.
Glad we get
Yeah.
to see
Henry.
Michael Shannon as Zod again.
Yeah, I'd like to see a good Gorilla Grodd. I have to admit, I don't know if
Oh
that'll
yeah,
happen
Gorilla
this
Grodd
time.
would be fun.
Yeah, and just
That is my
kind of
one
thing.
complaint about this movie is there's absolutely no Flash in it. Like I don't get why you'd get hired to write a Flash movie. It's like, what if we started with Flashpoint so I don't have to use any Flash characters?
Yeah. Good point. Maybe that'll change in the future too. Again, this rebooting of the universe, we'll see. And
I
speaking
mean, maybe
of
hopefully the movie will open with them taking down some rogues. That'd be fun.
maybe we'll see.
Ezra
We've
Miller's
only got a
not
few months away.
He's not in prison.
Yeah.
They need him.
It seems like they're moving forward with the Penguin TV show quite well, and it seems like they're getting in Clancy Brown to play Maroni.
Salvatore Maroni.
Yeah. Which is kind of a cool choice.
Krabs
Because,
himself.
like,
Mr. Krabs.
let's look at Clancy Brown's like history. He was Lex Luthor in the Superman animated series. He's freaking been in Star Wars. He's voiced tons of Star Wars characters as well as appearing in live action. He's been in tons of movies. I've met him once briefly at a
Shawshank Redemption.
a convention years ago, and he's a really nice guy, like really nice in person. And
He's in the Punisher.
Yeah.
Netflix Punisher.
he gets around, but I'm curious to see what they do going forward. We still don't have too much more on that live action series, but
Maroni, he's a fall guy.
yeah, that's it. But still,
No, I
it's
mean,
like,
this is good. This is going to show that, after Falcone left, Maroni's back. He's going to be back. It's going to fill in that criminal void. Penguin's going to be struggling to fill it in. You can see the plot shaping up already.
Gotham stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I know. It's like that's what's so great about Batman comics is it leans into the cheesy noir aspects of it sometimes. You know what's happening just because characters are brought up.
Yeah, and it's same stuff that happens in history. There's like a realness to this world where it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense. And
then Scarecrow comes in and gives everyone fear gas, and then the realness is gone.
But I am actually quite glad and satisfied that James tends to be leaving them to do their own the Batman stuff and continue.
It shows you that they're still in that phase of Batman lore where they're still like the crime bosses,
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm kind of over it though.
High power.
How many Maroni Falcone adaptations are we gonna get before we get something like a good League of Shadows or?
Do we get a Clayface?
I don't think we're gonna get a Clayface for a while, but
not in this Batman.
This is supposed to be Colin Farrell's Penguin, I believe, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Or Clue Master, so we can get spoiler.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Batman has such an endless list of villains, and they keep using the same ones, and it's
who's the ventriloquist Scarface?
Scarface. I love Scarface. He would work so great in live action.
Scarface, dude. Yeah. Oh, he's got such a rogues gallery, dude.
Yeah.
See, we got like endless rogues gallery.
Oh, totally. No.
There's different breeds of rogues gallery for Batman though. With this kind of level, we're probably gonna get like that. Or we're probably gonna get that before anything else. Because he got some weird ones too, like Man Bat. Like we won't see that in this Batman.
But I mean, I think the animated series
think we could see Man Bat.
You think so? In the Robert Pattinson?
I think yes. I think there will. If anyone's gonna do Man Bat, it's
we'd be crossing.
We fully.
Okay.
We'd be crossing that threshold.
Batman.
Do you think within a movie or a series, though? I mean,
I think he'll probably use it in a movie. It's gonna be just so we could use that shot of Man-Bat screaming at Batman and Batman not flinching and just looking at him. It's such a I feel like it'd be such a Matt Reeves thing to do.
Right.
I want to see him use Solomon Grundy. I want to see him use a character that would be actually hard to use. I don't know. I feel like he keeps leaning into the real characters. Give me something abstract.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do agree.
Yeah, that's gonna be. You have to. That's gonna be a reach.
Yeah,
I feel like in a Batman like that.
Yeah, jumping forward, their Squid Games season 2 looks like it's got a poster now, so I assume that'll be out late. I'm not sure it's this year or next year that the new season comes out, but I definitely feel like I want to do some reactions to this series.
I gotta watch the first season still.
What? What?
I know.
Are you kidding me? Well, we're gonna have to go back and rewatch the first season, do some reactions. Was this 8 episodes? Was it?
It's been long enough. I had my roommate Brandon spoiled it by accident.
God, dude,
because he thought I watched it.
So that if you get spoiled by something you didn't watch, you gotta let
Yeah.
it feel like you gotta get
Yeah.
months pass by.
I have to admit, very few, especially in the sense of foreign-based shows and stuff like that, very few things have actually kind of really made me feel like
Watch
for a
Money
long time.
Heist.
And it was this.
Oh, I keep hearing good things about that.
Yeah, I hear good things about
Insane.
that. This
show's
show
insane.
really shocked me. Like it really shocked me. There were
Actually,
moments
this
in it.
this last Halloween, you had Money Heist and Squid Game costumes all over the place.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I would say if you like Squid Game though, check out Money Heist because it's like
Well, that's
the
a few seasons now, right?
It's like it's a bunch of episodes.
Okay.
So long.
Like
Yeah.
real
But
world
it's so
commentary,
insane.
Yeah,
as well as like great storytelling.
right. Yeah, this
Yeah,
is very
it's
strong.
kind of soap
storytelling.
opera-y, but in a good way.
Yeah. But this, okay, Max, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to actually get you to sit down and react to Squid Games because season 1, because we need to get you up to speed for season 2. And it's really a simple sit through.
Hey,
Like,
Malloy,
yeah.
Ewan McGregor's Black Mask. They did him.
Oh yeah, and Harley Quinn.
Oh, really?
Oh
He
no,
was
no,
so
but yeah, what's the
unhinged.
Is it the animated?
I actually
or
didn't
in
mind
live
his
action?
Black Mask as much as I
It's
hated the
not
other
Harley
guy's
Quinn.
Victor Zaz.
Okay.
You didn't like that Victor Zaz? I like the relationship though.
Yeah.
I thought he
I
was
just
weird.
thought it was so weird. It was like, what if we had a Victor
Project.
Zaz who just was like a normal dude?
I love the Victor Zaz they did in Gotham. The actor who played him.
Oh yeah, that was a good Zaz.
He was spot on brilliant. He was so
Yeah, that was like a very accurate Zaz
didn't
while
like
also
that,
being
Malloy?
fun and different. And this was like they just watched that show. I was like, I know who he is, and they just forgot that like all the creepiness around him.
really?
Did Ewan McGregor even have a black mask in that?
He had a lot of different Black Masks.
Yeah,
I never saw
I don't
it.
remember. I saw it once.
That was the whole thing. He had a collection of masks.
Mm.
They did Roman Sionis weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Looks like they're going to be redoing Lord of the Rings, guys.
And Amazon says they're not worried.
What? Wait, what? They're redoing
Yeah,
it?
Amazon says
Yeah.
Amazon claimed that they have they built up a strong enough fan base from their first season that they're not worried about a Lord of the Rings reboot.
Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema are going to be doing some sort of joint effort again to reboot up and redo the Lord of the Rings films. I don't know if that means as a series or whether that means as another set of movies.
I think it's movies. I think they only have the film rights.
It's been 20 years, but those films are practically still to this day pretty perfect as movies.
Yeah, they're timeless.
They are timeless. They are very
I
well
know.
done.
Can you imagine redoing the Star Wars original trilogy? It feels
That's
like
the
that.
thing. It's like I feel like some IP movies you don't get the chance to remake. I mean, even though Lord of the Rings was made before it, I think you can't do. How are you going to do it better than Peter Jackson in this day and age? He couldn't do it better than himself in The Hobbit.
Yeah, no, that's it. It just
this is Batman.
That's what I was just gonna say. There's no one's trying to push the bar. There's not gonna be anyone be able to push the bar higher because it's already set so high.
Yeah, but there's also like that.
Not get that much love put into it that Peter Jackson did either. You know.
Yeah, but on top of it, like the Lord of the Rings is a very specific story. There's not much you can change or alter without copying what's already immediately there. There's that's the kind of movie that's kind of set.
You can change perspectives. You can have the whole perspective from Sam's point of view.
Really? Wow, that's not.
Maybe they could do it again.
Lord of the Rings. Sam's
maybe they
journey.
could do it again with less racism. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be funny. That's the whole reason they're doing it. Like we're running it back, but this time we're gonna do it right. More diversity, more acceptance.
Yeah, okay. Diversity is one thing they can change
it's
for sure.
Racist.
Yeah, they could change it, but unfortunately, so more or less was the book, wasn't it? I thought back in the day of
Oh, yeah. Does that make it okay?
No, it doesn't make it okay.
That's one of those things about a lot of older fantasy stuff is stuff like race is treated in very gray and black and white terms. It's not. I mean,
I mean they're redoing things too. Like Roald Dahl's books just got redone.
I know.
Remove any of any derogatory stuff that are more inclusive.
And Dilbert was officially canceled.
Oh yeah, that guy's being stupid.
He's been stupid.
I didn't read into what he did. I didn't read into what he did exactly.
Oh, it's awful. It is awful.
Really?
I would just say it's awful.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Is this something he wrote, or is it something he
He's
said?
just
He
disconnected.
called for division of race in this country, which
Okay. Well,
he's just a bad person.
wow. That's
He's out of touch.
Oh, sounds like it. Yeah.
Like he just doesn't know. Oh God, I don't
Yeah.
even want to talk about that guy.
If anyone out there wants to see something really funny, look up. I think his name is Scott Adams. Yeah, Scott Adams' interactions with Bill Sienkiewicz on Twitter, because Bill Sienkiewicz he's a great artist and he just shuts him down brilliantly.
Right.
Nice. I mean, who likes Dilbert anyways?
I never did, but I never followed it.
Yeah, it always, I don't know, it wasn't very funny.
Yeah.
It was like I just rate it with like a Family Circus. Like I just skipped it. You know, it's like I don't need that.
Let's jump into a bit of Star Wars.
It wasn't Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh hell no! You can't. Don't even put those in the same sentence, man.
Let's jump into some Star Wars bits of news. Let's start with Bob Iger. Bob Iger is apparently how much is too much Marvel and Star Wars Disney rethink franchising output. Basically,
I think we're getting there, man.
Yeah.
Saturation. It's not
Basically-
special anymore.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Bob Iger and Disney's brand core strategy. We're going to learn even harder into Disney, Marvel, and Pixar, and Star Wars and Avatar. In other words, they're just going to be pushing that material so much to the brink. I mean, they paid a lot of money for the franchise.
They're going to be pushing it differently, though.
But they could be, that's it. It's like,
Here's the thing,
that
they're
does
also
scare me
announced-
a little bit, yeah.
Look what happens when you drink too much, man. You get hungover. It's too much. You got to pace it.
Well, we're already
Well,
feeling
I
that
think-
from Marvel, me personally, yeah.
I think they're going to be doing it differently. I think they just announced Marvel, in conjunction with Disney and 20th Century Fox, announced a new imprint on Marvel Comics, a 20th Century Fox imprint, which is going to be home to franchises like Planet of the Apes comics, Aliens comics, Predator comics,
Right.
and soon I think they're going to have the exclusive rights to Avatar comics, because right now Dark Horse believes have it. So I think they're going to be expanding it in different ways. I don't think it's just. I think they're going to be changing their film output, so it's less films and TV shows, but it's going to be a lot more comics. It's going to be a lot more novels.
Well,
it's going to be a lot more board games and stuff like that.
Yeah. If that's the case, specifically in Star Wars case, they took the novels and took it into the High Republic stuff, which is doing phenomenally well. And I feel like, they just need to branch away from the Empire and this current, 100-year time period between Palpatine and
we need a break.
Return.
We need a break from the Palpatine saga.
I do agree. To a certain degree. I mean, I'm still invested in the Mando time period between those 30 years, but I'm not as invested about
This stuff has been
going
great.
back
The
into
High
the
Republic,
Empire.
they've introduced new Jedis, new everything, and it's been such a breath of fresh air for Star Wars.
Is that based off of some of the novels? Or was that its own?
No, this is all new characters. It's a brother and sister Jedi who got around the idea of attachment with the Force by lying to them and being just they're just so
they
effective at Jedis that they knew that they had. That one of them is better with the Force and doing like detective kind of stuff, and one of them is just the best lightsaber fighter that's currently alive with the Jedi.
Right.
So they like lied and said that they had no attachment to each other, so they could work together.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool actually.
That's cool.
Sounds kind of gray to me.
Get off!
I mean,
no gray Jedi. Gray Jedi.
They're definitely not gray Jedi because they interact with the Council and they're very involved, all that. But they're very just like they saw how the Council was doing things and were like, yeah, we're gonna lie to them, and do it our own way.
Interesting.
So we can get stuff done.
Interesting.
Nice.
That's cool.
Sounds great to me.
But yeah, I mean, it just feels like Bob Iger's, I mean, again, it's like he was brought back for a purpose, and he's only back for a short time in Disney for a couple of years. But I mean, what he had was working, but where it had, left off kind of was they spent a lot of money very quickly in the last like 10, 15 years, and they haven't made the investment return yet. And I don't think they're going to make that kind of investment for another like 30 or 40 years on the amount that they've spent on some of this stuff. In some cases, maybe they have. I don't know. I mean,
I think theme parks they've probably made their money back on because
Yeah.
Except the failed Star Wars one, the
The
Galaxy Star Cruiser. I think that one was
that's the
probably a
hotel. Yeah.
pretty rough
That.
loss for them. But I
Yeah.
think places like Batu and the Marvel
Oh
Park and
yeah.
California Adventure, I think those, because of how they're scaling it up kind of slowly compared to other stuff, I think those have been probably pretty steady.
Yeah.
I think their biggest losses have been like movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
Especially Disney Plus probably taking a pretty hefty
They're
loss.
acting like they're broke, man. They made tons of money.
No, they're not
Oh, yeah,
broke. They're not broke. They're just
but
They're just not making as much as they want.
they don't want to.
Exactly.
Yeah, they haven't
Exactly.
turned the investment around. Yeah. There's going to definitely be a lot of changing elements along the way for the next year. I'm guessing from Bob Iger, but I guess
I just don't want Disney to ruin it for other companies by overinflating the and oversaturating the market with superhero content to the point where no one wants to see.
Yeah.
Maybe an even independent superhero movie that might come out because they just compare it to a Marvel movie.
Maybe
They've already have for a lot of people.
That's yeah. I think they've officially done that.
The fatigue has been going on for years now.
Yeah. I agree. It's
Hey, Malloy, A24 remaking Malloy. So, hey, they get Michael Fassbender though. Would you be on board?
Yeah, hands down.
That would be pretty sick.
Yeah. This past week, Jon Favreau got his star on the Walk of Fame, which is like, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Oh, I thought he had it already.
Nah.
Busiest
First
man in
time.
Hollywood.
Yep, he really is. Like, he's constantly like, yeah.
What I watched recently, again, Chef. Such a good.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Good movie.
That's cool.
It was like his response to how they dealt with Iron Man 2. He's just releasing his frustrations on how he felt making that movie, and then he kind of just pretty much did a autobiographical film, and
that's cool.
It was an excuse to eat a bunch of food and work with Roy Choi.
Well, there's one curious thing that's been going on in the news this past week between Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Both of them have been saying kind of two different things about the time period of the Mando universe. And Dave Filoni is going on saying the storytelling of the Mando. I don't think things have come to perfect. Wait, no, actually, was that the wrong article? Oh no, wrong article. There's one here. Yeah, basically, Dave Filoni was asked about the season 3 timeline, and he says, I don't know, we're about 10 years after a Battle of Yavin, right? And yet Mando started at 5 years after Battle of Yavin, which means that there's about like 5 years have taken place between Mando season 1 and Mando season 3, which is kind of a huge.
So that means it's been 5 years since the first Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. Then
well, hang on a second. Let's pull this up, okay? This is a little interview with Jon Favreau that he said also the same week, because of Mando's release. They've been doing this massive promoting stuff, and he was kind of caught off guard here. And this is what he said. Oh, hang on, I forgot to put the volume.
I think it's obvious that he doesn't know.
I don't think I even know.
That's why I want to get into.
Brent, I want to ask, how much time has passed from like the first Star Wars to Return of the Jedi? What's the year span of that?
Supposed to be only 3 years, apparently, or 4 years. It's not supposed. I always thought it was 9, and that was maybe in the old school, but I've been incorrect.
Right? We were thinking that's like 3 years in between each one.
Well, yeah, 2 to 3 years between each one, but it really is not. Between Empire and Star Wars and Empire, I think it was only about maybe 6 months to a year.
Yeah, Han Solo didn't even leave yet. He's still hanging out with them, and he's finally getting his money.
Yeah. And then between Empire and Jedi, it's supposed to be about.
I think there's a longer gap of that one because Luke is like full on calling himself a Jedi at this point.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the question: is how quickly does someone become a Jedi?
We got to talk time period, because you really set the internet on fire today.
Oh, I did?
Yes, you did.
How so?
Because you said that Grogu was with Luke Skywalker for many years.
I don't know if I said many years. It's probably about the real time that we've experienced it. So it was the end of season 2 when they said goodbye. We checked in the Book of Boba Fett about a year ago when they parted company again, and then he rejoined the Mandalorian. So now I think somewhere in there, more than 1 and less than, somewhere between 1 and 2, 0 and 2 years.
So not that many years.
No, not that many.
So did
Run out of screen time. We know we only have 30 years to tell all our stories, and we have a lot more stories to tell.
now we go.
So
It's a really fancy way of saying, man, I don't know.
exactly, yeah. Whoop, what just happened there? Whoop, we just sorry about that.
Oh.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I think they should just leave it to the historians to kind of put in the timelines, and people like Pablo Hidalgo and all that, who are kind of always there putting all this stuff together and dealing with all the
Yeah, who's the keeper of the holocron? They should know.
It's basically Pablo Hidalgo and his group of people up in Lucasfilm. They specifically are the timekeepers of timelines and everything now, apparently. But the filmmakers are just filmmakers. They're shooting it because they're shooting it and they're doing it.
But it keeps the tradition of like the confusion of how long Luke
totally.
trained with Yoda in
Well, that's it.
Empire Strikes Back.
Which is only a very short time, apparently.
It should have been like a few hours compared to like what Leia and Han Solo were going through.
Well, I know, that's it,
You know?
exactly. Because they were kind of there jumping on
They were just
asteroid
still
fields
running
and,
away from that.
Yeah, the Empire. And then they made it
The
to
Empire, and
yeah.
then Luke
Yeah.
did all this like
Yeah.
X-wing deadlifts and a few Yoda meals, and
Yeah.
he's like Supreme Jedi at that.
But then it's supposed to have taken a month to get from the asteroid field to ban gas mines to Cloud City, and it's like that doesn't seem right. It's like it's
it's the one
maybe a
flaw,
couple of
and,
days, but
I mean,
yeah.
unless but they weren't working with time dilation or anything like
For sure.
that,
Yeah.
But it's something that
No, that was just some unthought of writing where they just wrote it into two different parts. They're like,
sure, yeah.
That's how good
sure.
That's how good Empire is. Like
You
I've
don't even
loved
think
that
about it.
film for years, and never have I ever thought of that, or it bothered me.
Yeah.
It just all made sense.
Yeah. And so that's the same situation they're currently having now. Is what kind of time frame has Mando been in since the show began, which was supposed to be 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, well, because the span of like the Boba Fett series takes a place. Well, how long does that take place? Because it's like it jumps all over the place,
Right.
so you're getting like flashbacks and whatnot.
Yeah.
So like, but when he gets there and kills Bib Fortuna up until he rides the Rancor, how long is that time span?
Again, it felt like it was supposed to be in a 5-year period because it's between Return of the Jedi and Mando season 1, technically, because he's already on the other side of that hill when Fennec Shand gets shot in the first season. So, he's already been with the Tuskens for nearly several years. I always got that impression that
No, I'm
was
not
with
talking
the
about
Tuskens
that. I'm talking about
right.
when he kills Bib Fortuna.
Yes,
up
correct.
until he's riding the Rancor. What's the span of that time?
Oh, that time. God, I have no idea.
It would just be the show. Like, how long did that show take place? It wasn't that long, right?
Well, the idea, because because he actually rescued Grogu. He came in and at the same time that it's got to be when Mando meets Grogu. That's the kind of point in time that you also go off of, because that's the first time that he's already gone after. He's got his ship back from Bib Fortuna. So Boba Fett got his ship back from Bib Fortuna somewhere in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
No, I'm just talking about when he, like, the end credits of Mandalorian season 2.
Correct, yes.
When he kills Bib Fortuna up until like the end of his show.
Well, that is not at the end. That took place time before.
I'm talking about how long was that?
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That event took place
I know. Prior to what?
Prior to him getting his ship back. Because he goes in, takes up Bib Fortuna, and gets his ship back at that point in time.
So they did a flashback, or was that after he got his ship back?
No, that was
after they helped that was after they helped Mando give Grogu to Luke.
You need to go back and No. That was no,
because he just left that and then went to take over Bib Fortuna's spot.
He in the flashback of him getting his ship back, you see a recap of the flashback of him taking out Bib Fortuna and everything.
So that end credits is a flashback.
Is a flashback, correct? Yes, to a point in time prior to. And when we pick up on Book of Boba, of course, it's right out from when he gets out of the Sarlacc pit after Return of the Jedi. So, yeah, it's kind of like a little.
That's confusing.
No, not really, because everything in Star Wars has never ever been linear. Like even the Clone Wars, Max. Come on, none of the Clone Wars stuff
I
in the
know,
first
but you
5
could.
seasons is
I
linear.
mean, a normal series would
Yeah.
just give years, but because
Yeah.
the writers have no idea, they're like, they'll figure it out.
Because it was a good story to tell at that point in time, they're going to say it and they're going to tell it. But yeah, which is fine with me. I'm okay with that.
I mean, I think it's kind of
Wait,
lazy.
no, it can't be a flashback because don't they go back?
I just boggled Jason's mind. You need to rewatch Book of Boba Fett and then watch it in. Yeah, it is not chronological order to Mando because he actually was already out of the Sarlacc pit. He was, hanging out with the.
No, I understand he was
yeah.
out of the Sarlacc pit, but I'm trying to think of like the time span from when he kills Bib Fortuna up until the end of his show. How long did that take?
I would say when he got his ship back and he came in and he was trying to get his armor back, that took place. Oh wait, actually,
I'm not talking about his
no,
armor.
no,
He
wait,
had
wait,
it
wait.
all. He had all of that already.
He had to go back. Sorry, he had to go back afterwards because he got his armor from Mando. Then he ended up going back to Tatooine, took out the. Wow. Okay, I got to figure that one out.
See, you don't even know.
Oh, I just have to sit there and I don't know. You're confusing me.
So like the
Quote
moment
Brent, it's not confusing.
The end credits of him shooting Bib Fortuna. He had his armor already.
It would have happened. Yeah, it would have happened after. It would have had to have happened after
Mandalorian season 2.
Maybe it might have happened before.
That's when he got his armor back.
Yeah, he had his armor already.
He had his armor.
He helped Mando do all that stuff, and then they went to Tatooine. He's like, "I'm gonna take over I'm gonna take over Jabba's palace."
Yeah, good point. Yeah, okay.
And so that was after all of that.
Okay.
So that wasn't a flashback.
Technically, it could have been in between two, because it was only Fennec Shand he took with him to take back Jabba's palace. So.
Yeah, and that was after they helped Mando do his thing, and he already separated from Grogu. So that took place after that.
That's it. He infiltrated, got his ship back. That's it. He did infiltrate, got his ship back with Fennec Shand, and then got off planet to get his armor, and then he came back to take care of Bib and all that. Yeah, so that's probably somewhere.
And that was the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And he went to the Bacta tank after that.
That's it.
But I want to know what the span is of that moment up until he's riding the Rancor and kills Cad Bane.
I don't know.
That was just a couple weeks, right?
Maybe. Perhaps.
Of him just trying to figure out how to run the palace and become a Daimyo.
Maybe.
I forgot what it was.
Maybe. Jumping over quickly to Ahsoka, because I'm going to jump ahead here. Rosario Dawson said that Ahsoka might come out this fall, which is kind of cool if it does. October, they finished filming October 2022. But basically Ahsoka is coming out next. So somewhere between the summer and the fall would be kind of cool. I'm excited to see Ahsoka.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that.
And then they did show this little image a couple of weeks ago of the Young Jedi Adventures, which is kind of like a real kid show. But look at Yoda; he's freaking scary as hell, in my opinion.
It looks a little too Pixar-y with the eyes.
Is that an Ewok?
No, I don't think so.
It's a blue Ewok.
I don't know what he is, but it's like okay. I mean, it's going to be another Star Wars thing for kids, kind of thing.
Then they'll all die.
That's it, yeah. And then
see, now that's a saturation. I feel right there.
Well, I mean, it's aimed at a different age group. It's targeted at a different age group, so it's fair enough too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But isn't it all for kids?
Well, yeah, of course. You wouldn't want any of his
kids. I would
say,
Andor isn't for kids.
Andor's definitely not for kids, yeah. So let's jump on to Mandalorian, guys. One thing I want to mention before we actually do go through the episode was that the stunt guys are actually now credited in the end credits, and there's 2 stunt guys along with Pedro Pascal. And the fact that they're actually
Yeah.
put up in front is worth it because they are doing 90% of the work.
Yeah, that's a Liz mentioned that when we were watching it. She's like, "Oh, those are the stunt guys who played him."
Yeah, yeah, and it's great. It's cool. You know, they were on stage. They were brought up on stage at Star Wars Celebration last year. So I'm glad that they have been completely inclusive of their hard work. Because
I was
something
told
we
that
mentioned.
every time if he's wearing the helmet, it's one of those two guys.
Oh, it's one of yeah, absolutely, yeah, no, for sure, yeah, and yeah. So yeah, what were your thoughts on Mando? They dropped some artwork, of course, from the end of the season 1 premiere, guys.
It was a good premiere. Wish it was longer. I wish it was a little less setup and a little more things. I don't know. It just felt like it was lacking a little something.
Really, I was fine jumping between all these different scenes. There was a lot of
all these different planets that could have just been emails.
no,
That was the weird
you
thing
said
about
that.
the ending. I was like, why would you fly all the way there
for like a
have
10-second conversation?
Yeah,
Well,
and then be like, all right, we're going home.
Some things are meant to be in person.
At least we
like
got to
you
see that.
don't just
We
you
got
don't
to see
just
that droid that looked like Helper from Venture Brothers.
he already knew he's in not great water with Bo-Katan, so it makes sense that he'd have to go face to face. I think it's more the honorable thing that he would do. So that makes sense. But no, I enjoyed these different plot stories being set up immediately. I mean, there was a lot going on and thrown at you, but I was really fine with all that. I loved every second of it, personally.
Yeah.
But,
those guys really looked like pirates.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Including this guy,
Oh yeah, he looks like Japanese seaweed salad.
Cork and Chad. Yeah. You know what? We haven't seen a plant-based,
A swamp thing and
swamp thing. Yeah, in Star Wars.
You think he's from Dagobah? His species?
I don't know.
Like
I doubt it very much.
I'm talking about the other pirates. They just look so pirate to me.
Yeah, I didn't.
A little
clock the
too
images of
pirate for my taste.
Really? But the thing is that Hondo's pirates in the Clone Wars are very, very.
I didn't
different
say I liked
from
that either.
Yeah, fair enough. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think he looks a bit. I mean, at least, yeah. I mean, there's a huge grain of salt I take with the animation designs too. But like,
yeah, but
these guys
they often
just
follow
look
through.
so pirate. It's like they had salt and sand on their suits.
I was
It looked like it was like the crew of Davy Jones' crew. They just took them out.
I definitely admit that definitely felt Davy Jones-esque.
You could Photoshop them into Davy Jones's ship, and they'll look right in place.
Yeah.
With that, and that kind of bothered me. I think that
Really?
like, there should be like a little bit more Star Wars design language with their outfits. Maybe
in
less
what sense? Because like Han Solo as a smuggler has got the side arm and everything like that. He looks like a typical, kind of, Western
Like what?
kind of. Han Solo has always looked.
Yeah,
like
he looks like Han
Western...
Solo. He looks original. He's not wearing a cowboy hat.
No, but he has other Western-inspired gear. Like
I know, but
it's
great. Is it's subtle? It's a lot more subtle.
Yeah, it was always a lot more subtle. I will say
these
the pirates
swashbuckling buccaneers.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Like that's not subtle at all. This is a Cad Bane's hat all over again. Which
I love Cad Bane's hat. I don't know why you have a
opinion.
problem with the Cad Bane's hat.
It's just too on the nose. I think if you're gonna be inspired by something, you don't just like straight up do it.
How do you make the Western villain without the hat? I mean, that's like...
make your own hat.
Yeah, make your own hat, dude.
That's the thing. It's like I wish the outfits felt a little more spacey and less.
A lot more.
Max, Cad Bane's hat in the Clone Wars is huge. Like it's bigger than a standard hat, and they did shorten it. I mean,
it's stylized.
The translation of his original design to like live action is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the whole design itself is what I have issue with. But
it looks very Terran. It looks very Earth based.
It's too.
That's my whole thing about it. It looks,
man.
I wish it felt. I wish I think it's like a little bit is in the fabrics. I wish like the clothes that they were wearing felt like they were from a different planet almost.
I agree with you. Yeah,
it's just too on the nose, man. Honestly,
they could put some chains on them or something. That would
Yes,
look cool. People like chains.
But chains would make him more punk rocker than anything else, and that's
No, I mean like swashbuckly chains, like just like stuff around the
Mm.
arms and stuff like that, like big heavy chains
Yeah.
to just kind of
Yeah,
make him
just
feel like
make it
they.
look otherworldly instead of straight
Yeah.
from Earth. Like that's just my issue with it. But
That's
you know,
yeah, it felt very earth based.
right. Okay.
it's just
No,
like
fair
the
enough.
straight from
You're
Pirates
right.
of the
Swamp Thing.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
Swamp
Well,
Thing is cool.
Veggie the Hut.
I don't know. I mean, like,
He's
I got a good
smoking
shot.
weed. He's smoking
But-
himself.
By the
Look at
way,
those eyes.
by
Look
the
at
way,
your eyes, man. They're blazing red.
by the way, this is the actor who played Black Chrysanthemum in
That's
Pokemon
great.
Fett.
Oh,
so
their
it's the same
ship
actor,
was-
and they got the voice actor from I forgot the voice
Their
actor.
ship was
different
dope.
voice. The ship was very cool.
That was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well, it was actually. Hang on a sec. Let me go back to the image there. Where's the ship?
Yeah, I like that. He is this generation's Lone Ranger, and
There
I
it
think
is,
that's what
Sam.
makes him so great.
The
Like,
ship is based off of a one of the comic books, I believe, called The Eclipse, which was an Imperial Star Destroyer based thing. But it's also some of this weird cross between the Eclipse and the old what's it called, the
Reavers from
no
Firefly.
some of the designs are more from the Clone Wars, from the Separatists ships as well. There was this kind of weird, nice blend in between. Either way, I'm going to assume this ship is going to be a formidable opponent to the story of this season. So that goes back to the question that was asked earlier. I think it was Jacob. I can't remember about, you know, will we get the chance? Do we think we'll see Hondo in this series? And I think Hondo would make a very good kind of entrance to be really pissed off that there's another pirate taking his turn.
I honestly think Hondo's entrance is going to be showing up, killing that pirate, and saying,
Really?
like, it's like, what's saying, like, something like, what? You thought this wasn't going to be fun? And then just, like, you know, going after Mando. Like, it's like an insane person.
I know. I mean,
That's totally Hondo's MO. Like, he
yeah,
constantly went after
you're right.
Jedi.
You're right.
He
Yep.
was out of his depths because he's insane.
Yeah. Oh no, he switches sides. Like he has no morals with sides until he
Well, his
personally
plans are
feels
also
connected to somebody.
insane always. He's like, what, if I went out,
totally.
what if I captured some Jedi?
Yeah, yeah.
That would be useful, right?
Yeah, good point. But I mean, I want to.
Hondo.
I just want to know, you know, down the track. Obviously, this guy's going to become a problem for Grief Cargo. Do we think Cargo? Grief? Yeah. God, last name.
I feel like Grief could have handled that a lot better. Like,
I don't know. I thought he handled it pretty well. I thought he was like.
no, I mean,
it
like
just shows
a
how
little
good
more-
of
a little bit more
marksman.
diplomatic than just murder.
He wasn't the one that murdered them. It was Mando that murdered them. He just shot
Yeah,
the
good
guy's
point. He
gun,
shot
gun
that-
away.
Oh,
Yeah,
he shot like
yes,
a couple
yeah.
of them, right?
Yeah.
He shot a couple of them.
No.
No,
He
Mando shot all of them.
Oh,
He shot all of them? I thought Grief
Yeah,
at
Grief
least shot
only
like
shot the guy's gun away.
Grief shot the leader of that group right there on the planet. I guess
He shot his
Vale.
hand.
His name is Vale, by the way. That character's name is Vale, which is based off of an original pirate, and also was in the name Vale was used in a pirate.
just
in-
when I thought it was
uh,
too much on the nose, it's even
shit.
more.
Yeah,
on
there
the
you go.
nose.
That's
It's
cool.
Vane.
Vane? Vale.
Yeah, it's Vane.
I thought it was Vale.
I watched
Vane.
with the subtitles, bro. It's Vane.
Oh, okay, Vane. I thought it was Vale. Oh, that's weird. Well, either way, yeah. So let's talk about IG-11 then. IG-11 is gonna get resurrected. Well, he got resurrected, and then he became like Terminator resurrected.
Yeah, dude. It was
That
like
was cool.
T1,
Yeah.
Surprised he didn't activate self-destruct.
Ooh.
right? That was like his
Yeah.
main. That's his MO right there. Oh, he already did.
Yeah.
I guess
He
so.
used
He wouldn't have it there.
He used
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
But then we-
used it already.
Then we get the Aldanians repairing him and all that, which is kind of Baba Frick's people. I was fine seeing those characters. I thought they were one of the better
Did a
puppetry
good Jar Jar
pieces
reference.
that-
They said poodoo.
Poodoo. Yeah.
I like that they're just like practical puppets, like
Yeah.
Fraggle Rocks.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Hey Eddie. Okay, so the scene where the Umbra tells Din he's no longer Mandalorian because he took off the helmet and was like,
Yeah, how do
Yeah.
you guys feel about Din still drinking the Kool-Aid that hard? Where he's like, I will
Yeah.
do everything in my power to be still a Mandalorian.
Are they that great?
I
didn't-
know, right? Like, what did they do
But,
for you
but remember, he was
in the last 5 years?
he was
Yeah.
brought up in this more or less cult-like situation. So
was
It's
groomed.
very hard for people. Yeah, it's
he
very
was
hard
Groomed
for
at a
people
young
to-
age.
Yeah, he was told this is the only way, and so
So he wants to
he
join these
still
whole
accepts
like
that.
club of people who can't
Yeah.
even take down an alligator.
I mean, my question is who's going to be the main adversary? Is it going to be Bo-Katan at the end, or is it going to be the Armorer? Because
It's gonna be a war against the factions of Mandos.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be, Bo-Katan versus the armor with Mando in the middle. And I think it's going to be
Possibly.
Mando bathing in the water of the mines. I think he's going to
Yeah.
unite the Mandalorians in some BS, whatever.
Oh, Bo-Katan
And
will
the-
stand where she does, and then the armor will be representing like Darth Maul's legacy of
Possibly.
Mandalorian, of
Maybe.
Mandalore.
I don't know. I mean,
Hence her horns.
it
You know?
just goes to show
How
how
do we know she's
messed up
not
the
from
Mandalorians have been
Vladimir?
for 1,000
Right.
years. Like, for 1,000 years, they've been warring factions with each other. So you've got this element.
They're a
there of-
doomed civilization, anyways, man.
Well, that's why, Mando's going to have to
But-
be the guy to unite them.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
the
gonna be
idea
like
that.
their savior.
But
you
the
know?
idea. See, I mean,
Foundling.
Yeah, he'll be the starting point, but I think that it'll be Grogu several hundred years later that might be the actual soul connective tissue, because that's going to tie back to 1,000 years old, with the Darksaber and all that stuff. It's going to be an interesting way to see how they play
It's gonna
this
be interesting
and what they do in the
seeing
future.
Grogu wield the dark saber.
I think, when he's a little older, I think that he's definitely the Darksaber wielder for sure.
It's gonna be like a broadsword for him.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
What if he
We
just doesn't
also-
even hold it and he just uses the Force to control it?
Yeah. We also got mention of Cara Dune's little exploits, running off and joining.
She got poochied.
She got, which I think was. I mean, some people have argued and complained it's just a cheap shot of getting her out and not killing her or something like that. I'm like, nah, I'm fine with that.
You
The fact
can't
that-
do any more than that.
Yeah,
What are you
that's
gonna
it,
do?
yeah.
Like CG her likeness
No.
and watch her die on screen? You can't
Yeah.
do that.
No.
She's out.
Yeah, no, she's out, but it doesn't mean that she can't exist in the universe somewhere else.
Actually-
and that's fine,
Go back to
Next
the,
episode, Cara Dune got shot down. There's no survivors.
yeah. Go back to the armor picture.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out the youngling helmets.
Yes.
They're
Look
so
like-
chibi looking. Like their eyes are all big. They're so
Well,
cute. It's like
but
a
you know why
cute
they're big,
version
right?
of, huh?
You know why they'd be big on
Because
on a
it's
chart.
cute.
Well, no, it's cute, but it's like it's big because like a child needs to grow and have a
Yeah, the helmet's not
visual
going to fit them.
Yeah,
So they keep the visor, and no, I'm talking
Yeah.
about like the visor's just a little bigger, like
for sure.
it's a
No, I
because
know.
the-
bigger
Yeah, I
line
know.
weight.
Because the
than
helmet's
rest.
going to
Yeah.
grow into their helmet.
Yeah.
But it's still like when you put it next to the other ones, it's still bigger than those, aren't they?
Well, look at the one standing behind her on the left there. I mean, that's kind of like a more or less probably a
Bo-Katan
youngling.
kind of helmet.
No,
It's like a anime eyes
No, I'm
version
talking-
of like a Mandalorian helmet. You know,
there are different.
I like how Shiba-fied it looks.
Yeah. See, I kind of look at it as that you put a child in something, you can't tighten their vision completely. You have to learn to adapt over the course of your growth.
So just take away some of your vision as you grow older. You just-
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure there's more things that add in there to actually enhance all that. But
Do
yeah.
you think they get to choose their colors?
Well, here's the thing.
Like
Okay.
each one's like a different color, right? Like
Yeah,
you
but-
think
but
you get
check
to
this out.
choose it.
Yeah, but check it out though. His colors are the house of Par Vizsla, which means that could be Par Vizsla's son. Is
That's
a
what a lot of people were
possibility.
thinking.
That's why he
Yeah.
like nudges him out of the way.
I think so. Yeah.
Nudges? He bashed him out of the
bashed
way.
out. Yeah, but he was protecting the kid. I mean, like, I got a feeling that was actually. Did I pull up the image of the kid? I can't remember. No, I didn't. It feels like that there's a possible relationship, or at least he's part of the House of Vizsla, which means that the Vizsla house has gone on for 1,000 years because they were the original, owners.
Well, we
of
know that
the
because of
Darksaber.
not
The Darksaber.
Par Vizsla.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Mark Vizsla.
Just
the other
Hal
Tar
Vizsla.
Tar Vizsla was the one who was the yielder and created the Darksaber. In the
No,
first
Pre
place. He was-
Vizsla was the one that.
Pre?
Right?
No, Pre
Wasn't
was.
it Pre Vizsla?
So it's post Vizsla now.
I can't remember. We got Vizslas all over the place.
I know, right?
Now Vizsla.
Yeah. But either way,
Then he's no. Yeah.
oh, hang on, which one's the other one?
Yep,
God, that was
Vizsla.
adorable. That was so freaking cute. I thought that was cool.
I like that Baby Yoda finally found something that's smaller
Than him, yeah. But you know that they're going to be like Hot Toys are going to be making a life-size Albanian character now to match the life-size Grogu toy.
Albanian? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, the Albanians. Yeah.
They're from Albania?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're Albanians. Whatever. Let's talk about the other thing that was kind of blew me away personally, and
Right? He holds the saber. He should just start his own clan.
Who's that?
No, Eddie.
Mando.
Mandy. Mando.
But he doesn't want it.
Jaren.
Okay.
And Mandy.
Here's the thing, though.
And Jaren has the most to say out of any of the Mandalorians.
But this is the here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. Din is the exact specifics.
Kool-Aid man.
This is no. It's the reason he doesn't want the power of the leadership is it's following the Arthurian legend. King Arthur didn't want
more
to
reason
yield.
for him to be the leader.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He has to find his way to become that leader if that becomes the case. And we're gonna.
It's gonna be Grogu holding up a sign saying, "It was always you, man."
It's gonna be inherited
Grogu saying he's the Lancelot.
Yeah, it's gonna be inherited down the track. But we are starting to see this Arthurian.
No, I think
legend
Grogu, if anything, is Morgan Le Fay.
He's Merlin.
Yeah.
No, he's Mordred. That's who he is. He's Mordred.
Let's talk about the other thing that blew me away.
Vizsla's the Green Knight,
and I just didn't expect to see, and that is this moment where we see the Purgle in the background in the hyperspace.
Those
link.
Purgles were huge.
Yeah, look at the size. Like that's the size of his.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the.
I like how you get like a hint of that. You don't fully see him. That's
nice.
I
agree. Yeah.
I like that. That was a good choice.
Yeah, and the fact that the Purgle were.
Those some goofy looking things.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh,
Like, this is, well, I don't know.
I don't know why they made them look like that, but
they didn't bother me. But the idea of the size and the scale, this is like all from Rebels, right? But when they do bring in the Purgle and Ezra does his Force connection to them to defeat Thrawn at the end of Rebels.
So were those inspired by Titan AE?
I have no idea. That'd be a good question.
Like, remember they're in deep space and there's like those dolphin things just following them around.
Yeah,
there's like these cosmic species, just
there
like
might have been an influence. I'm not sure. I just the idea that these things, though, took off with Thrawn's ship and took it to the far reaches of the galaxy, kind of thing. I think it's just kind of. It was cool to see that they want to not just acknowledge, but they're also kind of setting up the fact that these things exist in the universe. Hera, in fact, even says at one point, "Oh, Max is gone," but Hera does say at one point that that these things are in the space lanes all the time, and they get in the way of ships, and they're a danger and a hazard to ships.
they're like whales. It's
that's it. Yeah, they're doing their own thing.
Enforcing the
law of.
Well, they kind of like what is that? It's enforcing the kind of like spaces, the sea.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we have pirates.
Correct. No, that's the thing. They've had pirates all the way back.
So it's like his
pirates,
Naboo speeder, like the equivalent to like a Sea-Doo that he's just driving.
Here's the thing, Jason. I've got the Star Wars role-playing books from West End Games up there, and space pirates in Star Wars have been all the way back.
I'm not questioning the existence of space pirates. I'm only questioning how they look.
Right, but the looks and the designs have had this weird follow-through throughout the years, even from way back in the 90s when they're, when we never saw a pirate in the original trilogy, like a full-on, pirate specifically, but they are mentioned in the role-playing books and all these character traits.
Yeah, but they could have had a little bit more longer on the design board, just to kind of make it a lot more.
I'm just really happy that they kind of introduce this little brief moment. We'll probably never even see a Purgle again for the rest of the season, but the idea that
they're teasing it.
No, they're not. I don't think they're
saving it for Ahsoka.
No, they don't need to put it in Ahsoka either. They just need to make reference that what happened
Don't you
in
want
Rebels,
to see it in Ahsoka? You'd love that.
I would love that. Would you love that?
I mean,
I
yeah.
want to see Grand Moff Tarkin
wanna
getting
see,
eaten
like-
by one.
But
I want to see
unless
like a
but,
huge
but unless
whale.
it's a live action flashback, the events of what the Purgle story was in connection
that's
to
my
Ezra has
favorite.
already happened. That happened.
That's my
in
favorite
Rebels.
when they show.
Yeah, but that's not
flashback
every Purgle
credits
ever.
of
That's just like
No, well, that's because there's force. That leads back to the question: is Grogu force connecting with these Purgle in some sort of way? Because the idea of the
Yeah, I
Purgle
think-
is they are force sensitive, and that's how Ezra connects.
What
them
if the
so
Purgle
easily.
are leading them to Ezra though?
I doubt it very much. I don't think there's any sort of connection. I just think they're.
I think it's
there.
definitely teasing the connection to Ezra. I think it
Oh,
there's
it's,
a reason
it's
they
teasing. It's teasing, but not. It's not going to be a connective tissue outside of what's already happened, and we saw what happened in Rebels.
You know what? I'm gonna call it right now. Post credit scene this season, at
Okay.
the end of the season, is Ezra.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
At least maybe if they don't show him, a tease to him, or
Yeah.
Thrawn.
I could see there'll be some sort of
can't wait to see
connection. I'm
Thrawn
going to
in
assume
live
there'll be some sort of
action.
connection to Ahsoka, but maybe it is Thrawn we'll see in the end of season 3 of The Mandalorian. Who knows? We don't know where he is. I assume he is back because what's her name? The magistrate, obviously knows where he is. So Thrawn's got to be back here.
I hope we just get a somehow he returned and he's
Isn't
just
that the
sitting
point
there
of-
looking pissed off.
Isn't that a point of like Ahsoka's mission right now? She's trying to find him.
For sure, no, she's trying to find Thrawn because he would know where Ezra is. Yeah, and I assume Ezra either has joined Thrawn or he's a prisoner of Thrawn. We don't.
What if it's the reverse? What if Thrawn's a prisoner of Ezra and they're both trapped somewhere?
What if they're just
Ooh,
both
that's cool.
buddies
That's-
at this point?
They could be. That's it. We don't know. We don't.
They're like surviving in
Ezra-
this like deep
Ezra-
space. that-
Ezra stepped
there's,
on
like,
the dark
far
side of the
out what to
Force,
do.
so it doesn't mean that he can't be swayed. He might be swayed by Thrawn.
I don't think he's going to be swayed. I think,
Nah.
if anything, they'll allude to the fact that he reached out to the dark side of the Force and it didn't. I don't think it worked out for him the way he.
But he's
Different
had more
Anakin.
time with Thrawn than he has with the Rebels characters from Star Wars Rebels. Like he was with them
We-
for like
well,
maybe
we-
5 years.
We
But
could,
he was
we
with
could
Thrawn
maybe
for at least
assume that, but how do
20.
we know that they both got, they both stayed together? How do we know Ezra
Good
didn't
point.
just leave immediately?
Okay, fair enough. Fair
He
enough.
could ride
We don't know.
Purrgil. I mean, he can't survive space, but he could ride a Purrgil.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess we'll
So
find
he's
out when
the- he's
Ahsoka
the-
comes up.
Whale Roida.
Yeah, it's going to be. That's why I'm so excited because I'm so invested in the Rebels characters that I'm just that much more excited to see what the Ahsoka series does and how that plays out. Any other thoughts on Mando season 3, except for the fact I'm excited to see where the next episode goes for the rest of the season,
Hopefully this
the
season.
premiere.
Just can't wait for that robot bar.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be down the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
That's gonna be fun.
So like, they're just gonna bring back IG.
I have a
well,
weird feeling they're
I-
not going to bring him back.
see,
That's like one of his missions.
But
He's
the
like, he's
trailer
got like
shows no, but the trailer shows just the
Yeah.
prongs in the ground, and it means that he like everyone's saying he was going to be destroyed. And I said no. If IG-11 was destroyed in that battle when we see the other Mandalorians come down, and we still don't know why the Mandalorians are attacking, or look like they're attacking Grief Cargo's planet, but the idea that he was taken off of those prongs that were in the ground.
well the
I
what
did
part
call
is-
it. I did call that. I
No,
was-
what's left on that statue is just the statue part of him. Everything else is just destroyed, right? That's not even him. Point. They took his torso off, and all of that rest of it was
Right,
that was
correct,
sitting
yeah.
there, just a recreation.
I'm going to
Yeah, it's
assume
just-
that.
I
Because
think it was
his
like
legs
rebar.
got melted. Yeah,
I'm going to guess
they
that
just
the
used that
Albanian-
material. I was like, hey, save that bronze. Make
Yeah.
something.
Well,
Grief needs more jewelry.
they might have had but at the same time, it's like the Albanians definitely will do a reconstruction of him, but we don't know what the final purpose is going to be.
That's the only droid he
IG-11.
trusts.
Yeah, but do we think we're going to get that by next week? Because
No,
also
yeah,
in the
this
trailer
is-
we see
This is
R5D4.
This is for the fans. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's familiar. He's from the first one.
Yeah.
We want him back.
I guess we don't know the timeline of this season, but we do see that at some point in the trailer, Mando ends up with
It just sucks 'cause-
R5D4 as
It
his
just sucks because
droid.
he IG just ended with such a good arc that
Yeah.
like You know, it's like we don't need him back. Like that was a good way to go
but,
out. You
but
know?
the statue was there from the very end of season 1. We saw the statue in the town, and we see it again in season 2. I kind of always guessed, is this parts of IG-11, and will we actually see the return of him? And yes, I mean, we had Taika Waititi do the voice again in the brief scene, the brief cameo that we saw him as he was Terminator, version of that robot, which... Anyway. Oh, and we didn't even talk about Grief Karga's tiny little droids that are carrying his freaking cape around. God, that was...
I hope every time we see him, he adds another one, so there's like 7 of them by the end of the season.
You know that they're going to be cosplaying that, right? In like all the conventions.
Yeah.
But I want to see who does the best version.
I figured it out. I know how you do it. You put a Roomba, like a little Roomba, underneath the cape, and the Roomba is in fact what is attached to the 2 droids that roll along.
That's $2,000 cosplay right there.
That's it. Yeah, I mean that's it.
There's definitely a cheaper way to do it by just having like some
No,
rollers that stay up.
It's just casters.
No, those things because those things will just flap all over the place. It needs something. You need like
you just need like a
framework.
If you can build something that keeps the wheels like kind of locked in
exactly. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So you could spend like $2,000 on them.
Is that much those things?
That's honestly how they probably did it. Was they probably just made some things that can get that make the wheel stick upright and go straight with him.
Nah, they probably had just like 4 operators moving it around.
I wouldn't be surprised. There's a bunch of gig staff.
Yeah, it's the same way they do operate Grogu's arms and the way they did all the Albanians.
That's the most extra thing I've ever seen in Star Wars.
It was so cool though. It was
like it's
even
the most
Palpatine didn't have that.
I know,
yeah.
But that also leads to the purpose of, is Grief Karga going to kind of like die? He's getting very pompous in his, position.
I don't think he's going to die. I think he's going to turn evil. I think he's going to.
Really?
I think he's already kind of shown to be outside the systems of the galaxy, and so far it's been helping Mando. What if he's on the other side of that? I think he's getting so much power, and he's kind of changing himself a little bit. He's a lot more pompous. He's a lot more
totally.
Full of himself, but he's also. I think he's turning. I think he thinks he's more himself than he is. I think he thinks he's this big, powerful entity. When Navarro could be taken out at any time, if the Empire shows up,
well, the Empire. I don't think the Empire really truly.
No. I'm just saying, like if a force like the Empire, like if a big enough army showed up with enough
that's
people,
why I think the pirates are going to be a threat to the planet.
Exactly, the pirates are going to fill that void because they're just going to have unlimited soldiers to send.
Will that serve Din Djarin's arc at all? Though
I don't think so. I really think Din's going to abandon him. And that's going to be a whole thing.
I feel like Navarro's going to be its thing.
Right.
I don't know what grief
But isn't that going to be a typical choice between that Star Wars would have to have between Mando choosing between his people that quote unquote accepted him and then turned him away, and the people who have accepted him and then helped him throughout his journey?
You think he'll just retire there eventually? After
it's going to be like, who does he side with, the Mandalorians or the New Republic?
For sure,
because they're going to be going head to head eventually. Maybe not this season, probably next season.
I want to put this question on the table that Eddie kind of posts here. So, will Mando season 3 introduce Ezra, Sabine, Thrawn, like it did Cobb Vanth and Fennec Shand? If anybody pops up, I honestly think it could be Sabine because she is a Mandalorian, but I don't know.
I'm surprised we haven't seen her yet. Like we've seen characters who know her. We've seen characters who know her. She's still out there.
At this point in time,
going to be with like a
but at this point in time, she's on Lothal, kind of still protecting Lothal because we see her at the end fight, like after Return of the Jedi status, and we don't know exactly when that point in time took place.
No, but Ahsoka could always tie back into her, even
She may be
she's casted, so.
Yeah. She's another one that's cast.
But I think they had shot season 3 of Mandalorian before they started shooting Ahsoka, or maybe they were about the same time.
I think they were around the same time. I think maybe 2 months apart. There was probably some how these Disney shows work. They could always shoot one thing in one part of the country and just send it to another part of the country.
Yeah. You know who I'm excited? You know who I'm excited to see now? One of the trailers, I think an international trailer, showed Boba Fett in season 3 somewhere. I kind of assume he will turn up at some point. But I want to see Cobb Vanth. When we last saw Cobb Vanth, he was like in the back to tank getting some modifications done by the mods. So I want to see what this new Cobb Vanth looks like and what his purpose is.
I know. Yeah, we know he's going back to.
There's a rumor that they're gonna bring in this another bounty hunter that goes by the name Valiance, he's kind of like a cybernetically enhanced bounty hunter,
Okay.
and people think that him and Cobb Vanth are gonna team up.
Okay.
Because
Interesting.
apparently he mentioned Cobb Vanth once somewhere.
Okay. All right. We'll see. I mean, I'll be fun to see what they do with the character, and it's all these fun things. There's a lot to throw into this season of 8 episodes, but especially if they're going to be shorter on the short end of the story arc. But I was fulfilled with the amount of what they did. So let's jump on to the Bad Batch episode 11, which was I personally enjoyed it. I know.
This show's
Jason, you've got some
decent.
issues.
It's just going nowhere fast.
Really?
I just think the show needs to find its
I
identity.
think the characters need to find their identity, but I feel like these characters are going to end up by crossing back over to Captain Rex at some point. It just seems like they are.
just
That's what
seems
we're
like-
all waiting for, but nothing.
I mean, that's the weird
Yeah.
thing. It's not like they're
Yet.
waiting on actors or anything. They could use these characters. There's nothing stopping them. It's just they're just playing everything out so slowly. And it's,
stretching it out so much. How many episodes?
They are. I agree.
How many?
that's what I'm saying. It's
episodes?
going nowhere fast. It's like every episode of the week they do is another episode that's just pushing the plot back.
But this drove it forward. I mean, we saw Mount Tantus, which is a
That's
huge
awesome.
thing that is related to the Timothy Zahn novels.
Mount Star
Which is-
Fiji.
Huh? Yeah, but basically it's the Emperor's personal stockhold of secrets and supplies and everything. So if anything's going to connect and relate to the future of Palpatine after his death, this is it. And I'm wondering whether this becomes a story point somewhere in the down the track in The Mandalorian, because this place exists in the Heir to the Empire series by Timothy Zahn, and it is actually Grand Admiral Thrawn in that series that is searching for Mount Tantus to search for these different, secrets and cloning.
I just don't get why he wouldn't know where it is as a Grand Admiral and he has to search for it. But it's also if he found it, wouldn't he just not be allowed in? Because it's like showing up to a place, a restricted area at your own job.
But here's the thing, though. He's still an alien. He's a Chiss. And the Empire is still very kind of it goes to the point of they're very the Empire is very racist towards other alien races. It's pure and simple. So the idea that they might let Grand Admiral Thrawn know about this information, and even then, I think he had only heard rumors in the books.
I know,
It's
but
been a
I just
while
don't
since
get
I've read
what
it.
his long game was. He'd show up there, and it's like trying to go to a place at your job you're not allowed.
Right.
It doesn't make his plan never made much sense. He'd find the location, and then what? He'd get in there, and they'd tell him, "No, you can't come in."
That would be cool. I would love to see Grand Admiral Thrawn pop up in the Bad Batch. Is it going to happen?
Probably not.
Probably not, because this does take place before Rebels. But it seems
that's
like
why I was thinking it might not happen, just because that story's been fleshed out before.
I mean, he'd be still pretty fresh to the universe.
We'd see maybe a young him.
Maybe a younger him before he.
But haven't the novels covered a lot of his rise to Grand Admiral?
That might be the other reason why they may not show him, because
That's
they're keeping the
it's already been fleshed
novelization
out.
to arc that flush out arc. So
Though I would not put it past Disney to be like, well, it's a retcon because we want to make a fun episode.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
It'd be cool to see him.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much their standards for making things now.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the idea that this place exists, that this place is being brought into the actual animated and hopefully eventually live action, means that this is going to be a repertoire of stuff in the future that if they want it, and I feel like they're going to tie it in related to Palpatine's return down there in the sequels, that would be the place that these things are happening.
Palpatine saga.
Palpatine saga, precisely, yeah.
I don't think the Bad Batch is done with Sid yet. Unfortunately, I think Sid is a character that's holding the show back. I think if Sid knew something to help the characters, it would be cool. But right now, Sid's just sending them out for
They just need to
wasting
fill.
time.
Just
Yeah,
need to fill
I agree.
this order of all these episodes.
Yeah, but I feel like she's going to turn on them eventually. I feel like there's a great turning point coming up, and it's going to really
Yeah, I
mess
think
with them.
well, Sid screws them over like almost every week,
Oh yeah,
and it's
totally.
like every week they're
Absolutely.
like, oh, I guess let's go back to Sid's and see what's good. Like
Yeah.
nothing's good there. She's gonna send you out somewhere stupid. You're
Yeah.
gonna get stranded there, and she's gonna say, "Sorry, I can't help you. I'm too busy." Or
Yeah.
she's sitting drinking at her bar.
Can't trust Transoceans either, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust someone
Always
who
a
has a
bad
bar that
guy.
empty all the time, and
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't have a single customer. She's got Gonky there, and Gonky doesn't even drink.
No, Gonki's on the ship with the rest of the.
It's a front, man.
She's got the Ithorian and the other Weequay who come into the bar all the time. She's got 2 customers.
She has
Like,
2 customers. Like,
it
how much money
literally-
are those 2 customers spending that she could still afford this location?
It is Cheers in space. I mean, it's simple.
It's a front. Cheers had more patrons.
Oh yeah. But this is the one character I was surprised survived. Like, I really thought they were going to kill off Lamassu, but then again, he had an off-screen death at the end of season 1, and the fact that nobody really truly dies in Star Wars and has an especially an off-screen death. So I'm curious to see what they do with that whole arc.
I mean, people have on-screen deaths and they live somehow, you know?
Yeah,
Darth Maul.
good point. Yeah.
Palpatine.
I also like the introduction of this new character, Dr. Hemlock. I mean, they took care of what's his name with the Empire, the one who
Yeah, the other dude.
Rampart, Rampart, which was kind of like that was kind of cool.
That was a highlight of this whole season.
That was a highlight. That was a great episode.
Now we got this new guy with his alt-right haircut.
Yeah, he's the scientist, kind of creepy scientist guy. So I'm curious to know how that's going to play out as well. Sorry, I was looking for some other images. I thought I'd uploaded them, but had not. No, sorry, cancel that. Yeah,
Jacob, we were just talking about the High Republic. It's definitely something I would like to see in live action. I think right now the High Republic is it's becoming, as it goes on, more and more broad. I'd like to see a more unified vision among different media like books and comics and hopefully TV show.
Right.
Yeah, I'd just like to see something like brand new, you know, something that's not tied to anything that we know of, really. Something fresh would be nice. And I think High Republic would be the way to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'd be nice to see some
like nothing
fresh
in
stuff.
without Palpatine existing anywhere, you know, please.
Right.
Can we just get a world
What's
without
so fresh
Palpatine
about the High Republic
for
is it's
once?
all new characters, all new ways of seeing the Jedi, and there's no Sith around. It's very different in terms of how they react to the galaxy, and I think a lot of those could be great ideas for live action. I just think they need to be more uniform.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, let's look at this question, Jacob. Okay, so here's a question. Do you want to see have a do you want to see have a public if you have
the High Republic means
High Republic. Oh, gotcha. If choose to be a version of the show, animation or live action or both. I would like to see both eventually.
Both.
Because I feel like that's the kind of transition you could definitely get away with doing animation first, and then take what takes place from there. But I don't think they're ever going to copy anything that existed in the books. They would have to do something also brand new.
And that's otherwise. That's what they're messing up with right now. Is they don't have a core group of characters. Everyone that comes in thinks I'm going to make the next greatest Jedi ever, and they do a bunch of nothing with this. It doesn't tie into what they're trying to do with the High Republic. So I've struggled to find a good story arc within the High Republic that isn't just character based. It's more universe based. So hopefully they get into that soon. But I think a show or a movie would be the place to do that. I'm just hoping they could bring in some characters already created to not keep
Acolyte.
Well,
I don't know if that's High Republic.
Well, actually, it might be the end of the High Republic because we see some of the costumes actually are from the High Republic. Oh yeah, there's a Wookiee there that looks like he might even be the Wookiee from the High Republic at the end of his thing. But their uniforms are in the same color code as the High Republic. But at the end,
so that's our first
journey.
That's going to be a nice look into that era.
That will be, yeah. I mean, I am most excited for that as well. I mean, along with Ahsoka, the Acolyte, because it is taking us back into the past before Palpatine,
I
before
just want to see some
that.
good Sith content too. I mean,
I do too.
I
Yeah,
want to see some dope ass
yeah.
Jedi fights like we
Yeah.
did in the video games.
I want to see the Sith
Yeah.
overpowered by
That's some of the best
in an overpowering element.
lightsaber
think about
fight
how
I've ever seen.
we've had so much Star Wars content, and we've only had like a few lightsaber fights in the last couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Just jumping back to the animation stuff.
I
for a
feel like
second.
lightsaber fights are like the Batman of the Star
Yeah.
Wars universe, where they're kind of limited. You know, you only reserve them for movies.
Maybe.
We had some in Obi-Wan, but that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Well,
And it was like, all right.
They had some cool stuff with Ahsoka. And
I was watching. You seen his like
and all that.
I was seeing his like lightsaber bounce off of the stormtroopers and stuff. It was weird, but yeah, I think it's they you can't have too much, right?
Yeah.
You want to wear it out. Save those.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump in briefly to the Zillo Beast, which this is kind of cool seeing this alien's version of its younger form.
Zillo Beast.
Yeah.
Xenomorph.
But here's a cool thing. This thing popped up in the Clone Wars, and
and you loved that.
Well, no, I loved it because
His favorite thing.
But the
when
thing
they
is,
reference something.
It wasn't a matter of reference. It was no. This was not a matter of reference. This was a matter of, at the time, we wanted to know what the hell happened by the end of this arc, because it's a 2-part arc where basically this Zillo Beast ends up by getting captured off of a planet, taken back to Coruscant to be studied because of its armor plating, which was like strong enough that a lightsaber could not penetrate it. And Palpatine had a very specialized interest in this particular creature, tried to keep it alive. It turns out they ended up by having to kill it, but all of its body parts, all of its thing just was randomly sent off. We assume it was sent off to Mount Tantus. But this thing in its prime of enormity, which was huge, had a real beef because Palpatine, this is a shot with Palpatine there with face to face. This thing was really pissed at Palpatine. It's freaking sensed the dark side, I swear. So it really had this beef with what Palpatine was all about. So the fact that they've now got a new one of these creatures in Mount Tantus means that they're going to be dealing with some sort of clone hybrid of some sort in the future of the Empire era, I'm going to assume, which is going to relate to that, the Jedi, and even Omega. I mean, it feels like they're going to tie in Omega's connection with her DNA to something Zillo Beast related. So I don't know what that means exactly, but it's going to be kind of a fun side story arc to find out how they play that out.
Busiest man in the universe.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, but he's all this time he's working on his wanting to return. I haven't read the Kylo Ren comic.
I don't think it's the same one.
Yeah,
it looks different. I think it's also started smaller. I don't know if they could shrink.
Oh really? Oh,
I know they can get bigger, but I don't know if they.
I doubt it. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, it sounds like it was another baby Zillo Beast at the time. I mean, who knows what happens to this one? Maybe it dies. Maybe it's
If they use up all their energy, maybe they could shrink down to conserve.
I don't think so. I think this thing was
same
just
way
a
they
growing
could grow.
beast. I mean, originally George Lucas created the Zillo Beast to do as Godzilla on Coruscant, and he wanted to see this giant beast, wreaking havoc.
It's its only purpose,
which was really cool, by the way. This thing did actually wreak a lot of havoc on Coruscant, and I love I love that 2-part arc. It was cool, but it also set up this whole idea that Palpatine was doing something with all of these secrets, with all these things, and we never got to see any of that in the Clone Wars. So the fact that we are starting to see that now in the age of the Empire kind of thing with the idea of Mount Tantus. Again, that's the frustrating thing about this series. We've got stuff that's going out there with Captain Rex and now with Echo
just juggling all these things.
And that is more exciting to me than what the Bad Batch are doing. They've got all this stuff going on with Mount Tantus. Again, I want to see more, but we're not seeing enough of it as a story through point. We're seeing it as the side stories for these characters that are trying to find their way in the galaxy. And I get that, I truly do, but I really want to see these other story points take fold into the Bad Batch series.
Jacob would probably see a Lego
Or
before
other series.
anything else of a Zilla
Yeah.
Beast.
Maybe. No, we already have. We saw a Lego Zilla Beast at one point. I just can't remember which film it was. It was one of the pieces they did actually do a Zilla Beast. Oh, it was one of the
I'm just talking about as a toy.
Oh, they might have made it, but they've actually got it as part of the Freemaker Adventures. They put a Zilla Beast in there too. Anyway, guys, we've been going for like an hour and 40 minutes, so we've been going for a while. But I don't know. I mean, I've got this weird mixed relationship with how the Bad Batch is playing out. I'm just hoping that these stories do keep ramping up from here on.
Well, the first season felt like such a linear story where you knew what you were getting and you felt like it was building something greater. In the second season, it's like, what if we did a bunch of adventures with Sid that go absolutely nowhere and just push our characters back?
Just
and
running on idle.
But
I also think they care about their characters too much to the point where they're overthinking them. And I think getting rid of half the team, where you're taking away Crosshair off the board, you're taking away.
I need more Crosshair stories. I'm more invested in Crosshair's story.
Yeah, I
like
like
the team make what's his name Echo go with Rex, and it's like you care about these characters too much when you're trying to give them a satisfying conclusion and satisfying character journeys, but you're not giving us a good show.
But yeah, I do agree. There's elements that could definitely be stronger in the main core characters. That,
Well, if they're gonna do something, do it. Don't just it's the idea from Clerks, like either shit or get off the pot. Like you can't have something as big as one of the original members of their team turned evil and is now helping run the empire. It's like,
and we only see them once so far this season, which
exactly. It's like it's baffling. How do you not think that's an important thing to show?
Yeah, well, let's hope there's more Crosshair in the near future because I really do want to see and
imagine next episode. He's like, well, he's on vacation. He's going to be on Alderaan for a while.
Well, I mean, we had the whole thing with Commander Cody. I mean, that was absolutely fascinating. Like, Commander Cody went AWOL from the Empire, and that's huge, but it's also a story we never actually saw. I want to see another series that takes place on the flip side of all these characters we know from the Clone Wars.
It feels like all the more interesting stories are happening in the background.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, they're planting all these seeds, and then we're just waiting for them to like grow. And
and it's going to be a single episode that takes care of everything, like they usually do with like Echo and Rex. Like they did one episode, then Echo left with Rex. It's like all this build up for nothing. It seems.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I assume there's a season 3. They haven't officially announced it yet, but I assume that they've done some recording and stuff, and this story is going to have a conclusion at some point. I'm still curious as to Omega's arc. As I said, we've gone back to the story which was in first season, which was we need her DNA for the reconstruction of stuff. And it's like, okay, that's cool. They've gone back to that arc because I'm invested to see what they plan to do with her DNA, since it's the closest to Jango Fett's, DNA kind of thing. And I assume at some point the Empire will get that. What does that mean for Omega? I doubt they'll kill her, but I also want to see where she ends up 30 or 40 years from now, if that becomes the case as well. Maybe she's a prisoner in Mount Tantus for the next 30 or 40 years, and she'll pop up in Book of Boba Fett.
Hopefully.
That could be fun. That could be a fun story.
Way more interesting.
Yeah, that would be a fun thing. Keep
her played by Charlize Theron.
Bring it. Yeah, yes, exactly. bring her back as old, as 40-year-old Omega, and that'd be awesome. Yeah,
I feel like most people would actually like that so much more. If they're like, all right, Bad Batch is canceled, but Charlize Theron's gonna be playing live action Omega.
Omega, yeah. In the Mando era, yes.
Would they get like a Maori person to play her though?
Yeah, you good point. They would have to get one of.
Like she can't just be a white person, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
She's like you need a Tamara Morrison female version.
No, I agree.
I don't know what the female Tamara Morrison is though.
Who's the girl who played Whale Rider?
I think
What's
she's too young.
Doing?
I think she's too young.
She's too young. She's like 40 now. Or she should be at least in her 30s.
Yep.
Yeah, Will Rider's a long ass time ago. Remember that?
Technically, Boba Fett's in his 60s by the time we've hit Mandalorian. Mando. That's the thing. Is like again timelines. It's kind of
Never
like
forget ScarJo and Ghost in
That's
the
it.
Shell.
Yeah, that's it.
I know. Yeah.
I always felt bad
Like
I felt bad that she received so much hate because she probably didn't realize what it was about until someone pointed it out. And she was like, "Oh yeah, it's probably super wrong when I did that."
The Waterkeeper? What? Okay. All right, guys. I think we've gone long enough here. So, everybody out there, if you're watching, you lasted this long into our conversation, please like and subscribe if you have not already. And thank you, Max. Thank you, Jason. We will bring another episode next week. We will be talking on Jason's podcast on Wednesday. Yep, Wednesday. And of course, we'll be doing another reaction video to both Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 2, and The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 12. Wow, this is getting confusing. And we shall catch you all later. Thanks, guys. Thank you, chat, for watching, and we shall catch you later.
Pick another target, military.